Okay, now we're fine. Back to what we're doing here. Sorry about that for everybody. I'm recording this now. So on this particular problem, this is number one on lesson 61. And so what I'm going to do is this. The first thing I'm going to do is clear the denominator. So I'm going to make this a fraction. And in order to clear, I have 4x, x, and 1. I'm going to multiply everything by 4x in order to clear this denominator. So what I'm going to do is multiply by 4x, multiply by 4x, multiply by 4x. So I think you'll see why in a second, okay? Okay, so when I do that, this cancels out. It becomes 1. The x cancels out here, but I have 4 times 3 is minus 12. And then 6 times 4x is 24x. This is actually the easiest way to do this. What I do is I look at this problem and I find the least common multiple of all three spots, and that's 4x. And then I just going to go, this is negative 11 equals 24x, and then divide both sides by 24. X is equal to a negative 11 over 24, okay? Let me do another one just so you can see it again. I know that was kind of a rush, and we had a little computer problems there for a couple seconds. But let's go ahead and do the next one that same way. 5 over 2x. I'm going to give myself a little more space here because of how I'm clearing the denominators. 3 over 6x is equal to 1. We'll just call it 1 over 1, okay, because I want to make it a fraction. All right, so these are my three denominators, 2x, 6x, and 1. The least common multiple of 2x, 6x, and 1 is just 6x. So I multiply this by 6x, this by 6x, and this by 6x. On this particular time, I put the little parenthesis around the terms that was to start with. Now watch what happens. These x's cancel out, and this becomes 1, and this becomes 3, because 6 over 2 is like 3 over 1. So now 3 times 5 is 15 over 1, which is just 15. Thumbs up right now if you understand kind of what I'm doing. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, go. Thumbs down if you're kind of lost. Okay, you guys get it. Okay, now the 6x here will cancel out completely, so it's just plus 3. Okay, then 1, it's just over 1, but 6x times 1 is 6x over 1, which is just 6x. So now we have 18 is equal to 6x. And I think you know that divide by 6, x equals 3. There's our answer. All right. Why don't you try number 3? See if you can do it. I'll write it on the board in case somebody doesn't have this particular one here. It's equals 2, but I'll put 2 over 1 just so we can make it a fraction to start with. Okay, you have to do it by 12x on this one because the least common multiple of 6x and 4x is 12x. Okay, that makes sense? Send me over to chat when you have this computer's ready for you right now.
No, go ahead and check your email.
Oh, okay.
The switch was unplugged.
The switch was unplugged.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, how'd that happen? Somebody just hit it, or?
I'm not here.
Oh, I mean, it was just like a flip of a switch.
Like it got hit. No,
Okay.
it was unplugged.
Just unplugged. Okay. Oop. Let me see here.
I sent emails to everyone, so
Okay.
I don't know which one for sure was yours. You got out.
Okay, let me grab my phone because I've been switching over my computer and I did changing my emails. So it wasn't my computer after all that did it. It was just a, yeah.
Something happened.
Okay.
Mouse ran across you. Fold.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have that. My email is not on that right now. So
As long as it got, no, it went out somewhere.
okay, as long as it works, good.
Did you see it yet?
I don't have that email here now because I've been switching over.
Can you print? See if you can print.
Okay, let me do that. Oop, I don't want to do that, actually. Hold on. I gotta cancel that because I just printed like 500 pages.
No.
I don't want to do that.
I can run back there and
No, I got
kill
it.
it.
I just killed it. Page 1 to 1, that's what I'll reach.
You can see the printer on that computer.
Yeah, I can see it there. It actually still has a, but I don't know if I've printed on this computer yet. That's,
I tried one of them.
all right. Hey, everybody, thank you for your patience on this. You all get an answer yet for me? Are you waiting on me? Okay, let me start doing this. So it's 12x. So I'm going to parenthesis this, 12x, parenthesis this, 12x, parenthesis this, 12x. Okay. X's cancel out. This becomes 1. This becomes 2. 2 times 1 is 2. Minus x's cancel out. 4 goes into 12 3 times. This becomes 1. Every time I do this, what I'm doing is I'm actually getting rid of the x in the denominator. 8 times 3 is 24. And now I'm going to have just 12 times 2 is 24x. So this is going to be negative 22 equals 24x. Divide by 24, divide by 24. X is equal to negative 22 over 24, which is going to reduce to x is equal to negative 11 over 12. And that's the correct answer. All right. On that particular problem alone, do you understand that? Thumbs up if you got it. Thumbs down if you're kind of lost a little bit. Okay, you got it. You have one question. Oh, yeah, thank you.
There you go.
Perfect. We'll see you.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Okay. Yes, who's Amy, what's your question? My volume might not be right. If I can't, might not be able to hear you. Again, I have the computer problems right now. Go ahead and give it to me again, Amy, please. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Oh, Dayton says confused on getting rid of the denominators. Okay, I'll do another one for you then. This is not easy stuff, guys, and I apologize that I was kind of had the computer problems earlier and then also all this going on. So okay, let me do another one then. Let's keep on working on these. And let's go ahead and do number 4. So I have 4 looks like this. Okay, so what I want to do here is I want to, I'll do this one differently, okay? I'll do this one like another way to do it, just so you can maybe see it. And I'll do another one like I was going to clear out a denominator. So here what I would do if I wanted to combine like terms on either side of the equation, I would just basically multiply this by 2 and this by 2, which would give me 2x for both of these, okay? So now I have 2 times 9 is 18. 2 times x is 2x, which is now my common denominator. I'm only going to write it once for right now, okay? Because it's on both sides. And this just stays 11. So now I'm going to simplify this to 18 minus 11 is 7 over 2x is equal to 14 over 1. Now I'm going to cross multiply like this. I'm going to have 28x is equal to 7. Divide by 28. Divide by 28. X is going to equal 1/4. So what I did here is this. I just combine like terms. In order to add and subtract fractions, I have to have common denominators. In my original problem here, the x is missing a 2 because this has 2x. So I multiply this by 2 and this by 2 to make this denominator 2x. And I do the denominator, I also have to do the numerator. 2 times 9 is 18. 18 minus 11 is 2x. Over 2x, I should say. Now I can combine these terms up here. 18 minus 11 is going to be 7. 7 over 2x is equal to 14. But if I'm going to use this ratio technique of the band-aid and the butterfly, I have to put it as a fraction. So instead of writing 14, I write 14 over 1. And then I just cross multiply. I get 2x times 14 equals 28x. 7 times 1 equals 17. And I have divide both sides by 7. Divide both sides by 28. I get 1/4 because 7 over 28 reduces to 1 over 4. Okay, let me go ahead and do this same problem here. But I'm going to do it the other way. We'll get the same exact answer, 1/4. Okay. I'm going to write the 14 over here over 1 to begin with, just because I'll need that space along the way. So Dr. D, you were asking, you don't understand why we clear the denominator. Well, there's a couple reasons why. We can't have an x as a denominator. So in order to get rid of it, what I have to do is I have to clear it out. In order to clear it out, I have to multiply it by the least common multiple of each of these spots. Okay, so x, 2x, and 1, the least common multiple of each spot is 2x. Okay, so now the x here cancels out with this x. 2 times 9 is 18. Okay. This 2x and this 2x completely get rid of themselves. So this is just negative 11. And this is just by 1, so it's just 2x times 14 is going to be equal to 28x. 18 minus 11 is 7. Oops, times x. Divide by 28, divide by 28. 7 over 28 is equal to x. I'll rewrite it the other way. X is equal to 7 over 28 because equals means the same on both sides. It reduces to 7 goes into 28 4 times. 7 goes into 7 1 time. 7 goes into 28 4 times. 1 over 4. Same exact answer. All right. Let's keep on working. Let's do number 5. Some of the hardest stuff we've done all year. Okay, which way do you want me to do it? Do you want me to combine like terms and solve, or do you want me to clear the denominator all the way across and solve? You tell me. Clear the denominator, okay? So in order to do that, I'll make this a fraction because I have to do it to every spot, okay? Any number can be expressed as a fraction by putting it over 1, okay? So I can't have my x in a denominator. When I get my final answer in a problem, x has to be all by itself to the power of 1 and to the coefficient of 1. So I just have to give x, just x. Can't be a denominator. So because I have x's in the denominator here, I have to clear it out. In order to do that, I have to multiply by the least common multiple. The least common multiple of 6, x, 3x, and 1 is just 6x. So I'm going to multiply this by 6x, this by 6x, and this by 6x in order to clear out the denominator, because that's the least common multiple of each spot. Well, this just cancels out, which is 11. This x cancels out with this x. This becomes 1, and this becomes 2, because 6 over 3 reduces to 2 over 1. So I still have to multiply this 2 right here by this 5. Okay, this is completely gone because it's 6x on both spots. It's gone. This is 6x and this is 3x. The x's cancel out. The 3 and the 6 reduce to 2 over 1. 5 times 2 is 10. I have the function of plus here. I'll leave that. And then this is just 7 times 6 is 42. X. So now I have 21 equals 42x. Divide both sides by 42. It looks like x is going to equal 1/2. Right? Divide by 42. Divide by 42. Cancels out. 21 over 42 reduces to 1 over 2 because 21 goes into 21 one time. 21 goes into 42 two times. X equals 1/2 or 1/2 equals x. All right. So again, how do we clear out the denominator? What we do is, I'll do this one the other way. By combining like terms and then doing cross multiplication of a fraction. Okay, so what I'm going to need to do is this. In order to subtract 1x from 50 over 5x, I need to have common denominators, which is 5x. So I'm going to rewrite this as 5x for both spots. This spot and this spot. 50 minus, well, I multiply this by 5, I multiply this by 5. 5 equals 1. So 50 minus 5 is 45 over 5x is equal to 1 over 1. Cross multiply. 45 times 1 is 45. 1 times 5x is 5x. Divide by 5, divide by 5. X equals 9. There's your answer. Okay. That's by combining like terms. I'll do the same problem, get the same answer, but I'll do it by clearing the denominator. In order to clear a denominator, I have to multiply each spot by the least common multiple of everything. 1x, and 5x. The least common multiple is going to be 5x. So I'll multiply every spot. Let me put the minus here. Every spot by 5x. Five x and 5x cancel out. So I have 50 left over. X cancels out. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 1 is 5x over 1, which is just 5x. Okay. 45. 50 minus 5 is 45. Divide both sides by 5. X equals 9. Same answer. All right, let's ask us where we are now. Thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down. You can use the pointer finger if you want to do thumbs middle. On the count of 3 on these problems. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay. Again, this is some of the harder stuff that we've done. Why don't you guys try number 7, okay? And then we'll go to the other side. You can finish up after that. Okay, Dayton's still having trouble with this. Try the best you can, Dayton. Okay, Dayton, listen while everybody else is working. Okay. Anytime you can, like, Dayton, if you do this, let's say you have 2 over 4 as a fraction times 8 over 10. Okay. You can cross reduce. Okay, I'll show you in a second. Let me just show you this simpler math. You can cross reduce either way. The 4 and the 8 will reduce to 1 over 2, and the 2 and the 10 will reduce to 1 over 5. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 5 is 5. Okay, so all I've done is reduce before I multiplied. I could say 2 times 8 is 16, 4 times 10 is 40, and then divide by 8, divide by 8. 16 divided by 8 is 2, 40 divided by 8 is 5. I got the same answer. But I can cross multiply earlier. So that's kind of the same thing I'm doing, but now I'm using just I'm using variables as well. Okay. So here's my thought. I can't have a y in the denominator. So in order to clear it out, I have to multiply. I have to get everything to be 8y because that's the least common multiple of each of these spots. Okay. So by doing 8y by everything, every denominator will be cleared out. Okay. So I multiply this whole spot by 8y. Now watch, Dayton. Y over y cancels out. Okay. 2 over 8 reduces to 1 over 4. So my 8y here and my 2y here have been reduced to 4 over 1. So now I'm just 4 times 5 is 20. Okay. It's right here. The 5 is here. 4 times 5 is 20. The 5 didn't clear out. Okay. So the 5's still there. 4 times 5 is 20. Okay. Here, the 8y and the 8y both cancel out. So it's just 1 over 1. 1 times 12 is 12. So I have 12. Here, nothing can reduce because 1 doesn't reduce anything. So now I just go 8y. The y is still here. In either one of these, the y on the bottom cancel out the y on the top. Here, though, I have the y still there. So now I have 8y times 2 is 16y. So now I only have one y left, and it's the one right here. So I'm going to have 20 and 12 is 32. So y is just going to equal 2. All right. Looks like you finally got the light bulb, Dayton. Is that right? You got it now? All right. Let's do this for why don't you do number 8, Dayton, see if you can get that one. And that one's actually a little bit different because you have a third already in the fraction. It's really not, but it might work a little differently. Why don't you all try it? Let me give you some help. What's going to happen here is you'll actually be able to reduce as well. So you're going to multiply each spot by 3z because 3z is the least common multiple of z, 3z, and 3. And cancel what you can. So why don't you try to work on this one real quick? All right, you guys ready for me to do it? Z's cancel out. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 Z's cancel out completely, plus 4. 4 times 1 is 4. Now watch. 3 and 3 Z times 1 is Z. Z is going to equal 10. All right. That's a Z. This is number 8. And I am recording this so you can watch it again if it helps you. For time's sake, let's go to the next side. And here they're just doing a little bit more of the same. And they're doing this because yeah. Let me clear this off. Again, the least common denominator of 1 and 2x and 5 and 3x is just 6x. Okay? X's are already in both. The least common multiple of 2 and 3 is 6. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, a little different. 12 and 5y. This is the back page, number 62. And 2/3. So I have to have the least common multiple of 5 and 3 and y and nothing. Okay? So it is going to be 5 times 3 is 15. And y is 15y. Okay? So for number 3, we have 3, 5x, 9, 10x, 4, 3x. It's going to be, looks like 30 to me. Okay? 30x, I mean. Because 5 goes into 30, x goes into x, 10 goes into 30 evenly, x goes into x evenly, 3 goes into 30, and x goes into x evenly. All right? For 5, 8, these are just number 4, 5, 8, 7 twelfths, and 15 over 2. It's going to be 24, right? Least common multiple of 8, 12, and 2. You know that already. You learned that in the 6th grade, 24. Okay? All right, let's do this. Let's do number 7. I have 4 over x plus 7 over 8x equals 1 over 6 minus 7 over 12x. Okay, so everybody listen closely. This is number 7. Does this look right to you? Did I write this down correctly? Because I have some smudges on mine. I did this one already, and I did some crossing out on it. I did it to make sure I could get it right. On my paper, you can see. So does that look right as it is on your sheet there? Yes? Make sure all the signs are right, everything as well. Okay. So what I'm going to have to do is this. I'm going to have to multiply each spot by the least common multiple of 1, 8, 6, and 12, which is 24, and x, x, no x, and x, which is just x. Okay? So I'm going to multiply every spot by 24x. What that'll do is that will clear out this denominator all the way around. I need to do that for the least common multiple. Okay, so now watch. In this particular spot right here, this x and this x cancel out. I still have the 4 here. 24 times 4 is what, 96? Here, the x cancels out. The x cancels out. The 8, 24 over 8 reduces to 1 over 3. 7 times 3 is plus 21. Here, 6 and 24 reduce to 1, 4. 4x times 1 is 4x. $12x over 24x reduces, the x's cancel out. The 12 is 1, the 24 is 2, minus 14. Now I just combine like terms. 96 and 21 looks like 117 to me. Add 14 to both sides. $131. Is that right? Divide by 4, divide by 4. X is equal to 131 over 4. I did check that. That is the correct answer. I know it looks like a pretty, random fraction. Sometimes that's an indicator that you did something wrong. This is correct. That is the answer. All right. I want you to try number 8. Send me over an answer when you get it. I want you to at least try it. I've not done this one, so I do know the correct answer. But I want you to try this problem, and I want you to solve for x by clearing out that denominator. Send me over an answer when you got it. Solving for x. Is anybody waiting on me to do it because you don't know how to do it? Raise your hand. Anybody? Okay. Is anybody working on it right now? You don't want me to spoil it. You want to see if you can get it right. Okay, let me do it then. The least common multiple. Okay, let me just go back to the 5th grade. The multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and so on and so forth. Okay. The multiples of 3 are 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. The multiples of 4 are 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. Now, what we mean by least common multiple is this: the smallest number in all 3 of these series. And the smallest number in all 3 of these series is 12. Let me ask you this. Do you all understand when I have this 4 right here, this 2 right here, this 4 right here, and this 3 right there? I have to find the smallest number the least number that is a multiple of each of them. Thumbs up if you understand what that means. Thumbs down if you don't. I mean, you learn least common multiples in the 5th grade, so this is a reminder. You should know how to do that, okay? Okay, so when we clear out these denominators, what we have to do is we have to multiply each spot by the least common multiple. So let me go ahead and erase all this mumbo jumbo here. There's just no way. I wanted to show you what a least common multiple was. I also have an X here that I have to clear out as well. So because of that, I have to multiply each spot by 12x. Because I have to clear the x's out of the denominators. And if there's a denominator it's like an inverse operation in some senses. So what that does is it allows me to clear out the denominator. Okay, now watch. This x and this x cancel out. Anytime you multiply a fraction by a fraction, you could say this is 12 over 1 if you wanted to. You don't have to, but you could. Okay, the x's cancel out. The 4 reduces to a 1, and this 4 reduces to a 3. Because 12 over 4 reduces to 3 over 1. The x's cancel out. So I basically have 3 over 1 multiplied by 3 over 1. But since they're all 1, it's just, well, 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 1 is 1. 9 over 1 is the same as 9. Yes, first number is 9. Okay, this is the fraction bar. It's not a minus from earlier. So the x's cancel out. The 2 over 12 reduces to 1 over 6. I just reduced this, just like you did in the 5th grade, simplifying fractions. So 6 over 1, 1 over 1. 6 times 1 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1, plus 6. 6 times 1 is 6. Here the x doesn't get rid of because there's no x down here. Okay, watch. Let me back up, Dayton. In the original problem, this was 1/6. I'm sorry, not 1/6. Wrote that wrong. This is 2x. And we multiply it by 12x. Okay? You understand that, right? The x's cancel out. 12 over 2 reduces to 6 over 1. 6 times 1 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. 6 over 1 is reduced to 6. So this whole thing, again, if I were to do this independently, 2x over 1 times 12 times 12x over 1. Okay? If I were to do that independently, Dayton, the 2 and the 12 would be 1 and 6. The x's would cancel out. 6 times 1 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. 6 over 1 is equal to 6. Do you see, Dayton? Dayton, look. Let me show you. Do you see how this 12 here reduces to 6? 12 over 2 reduces to what? 6, right? Okay. What's 6 times 1? 6 here times 1 is 6. Okay, so right. That's how I got the 6. Okay. Now, let's do this next part. 4 and 12. If I were reduced to 12 over 4, it would reduce to 3 over 1. Is that correct? Yes? Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. 1, 3. So the x still has to stay because there's no x here. 3x times 1 is 3x. Okay. Now let's go this final spot. 3x and 12x. Okay. X's now cancel each other out. 3 over 12 reduces to 1 over 4. So now all I have here is 4. 4 times 5 is 20 over 1, which is just 20, plus 20. Yeah, you have to more. When do you even multiply the denominator? So it's just 1. You're basically taking every spot and you're multiplying it by 12x. Okay. In the first spot, it reduces to 3. 4x times 12x. I'm sorry, 12x over 4x is 3. 12x over 4x reduces to just 3. X's cancel out. 12 over 4 reduces to 3. This 3 right here that you have left over times this 3 right here, because you're multiplying, equals 9. Here you have 2x over 12x. The x's cancel out. 6 over 1. You have 6 left over. 6 times 1 is 6. Here you have 4. You have to get rid of the variables, though, Dayton. That's the whole reason you're doing this. You have to get rid of the variables in the denominators. The reason you have a variable left over here is because, look, in this spot and this spot alone, you have no variables left. Let's go ahead and finish the problem. Nine plus 6 is 15, equals 3x plus 20. Subtract 20, subtract 20. Negative 5 equals 3x. X equals negative 3 over 5. There's your answer. I know you missed that 1 week, Dayton. Maybe that's why you're struggling with this a little bit. But when you solve for x, you have to get an x all by itself. Okay, you can't have it as a denominator. Okay, so in the original problem, let's do one more really quickly. You can leave if you want to. I'm recording this. I got geometry in about 6 minutes. But I'm going to do one more problem if you want to stick around. Okay, those are the 2 hardest ones, okay? Number 9 is a little bit easier because there's no denominator, there's no x for the denominator. Let's do it, though. Let me ask you this, Dayton. Number 9 is a little bit easier because there's no x in the denominator. Would you like me to do number 8 again, or would you like me to do number 9? You tell me. Okay, let's do it. Okay, we have 3x over 10 plus, I'm spacing this out a little bit to give me some room, 1/4 equals 5 over 6. Okay, so what I have to do is I have to multiply each spot by the least common multiple. Now look, there's no variables in the denominators. That's a good thing. Okay, so the least common multiple of 10, 4, and 6 is probably 60, I'm guessing, right? Yeah, it's 60. Okay, so I multiply this spot by 60, this spot by 60, and this spot by 60, because I'm clearing out my denominators. 6 times 3x, 18x. I'm just reducing, I'm cross-reducing. 15 times 1 is 15. 5 times 10 is 50. X equals 35 over 18. How did I do that? Least common multiple in each spot. 60, 10 over 6. 6 times 3x, 18x. 60 over 4. 15 over 1 is what it reduces. 15 times 1 is 15. 6 over 60. 60 over 6 reduces. 110. 10 times 5 is 50. Simple algebra after that. Let me do number 10 really quick for you. We'll call it 4 over 1. The least common multiple of 9, 15, and 1 is probably 45. I'm guessing. Okay. 9 goes into 45 5 times. Okay. To clear out a denominator, you have to multiply by the least common multiple of every spot. Let me go back to the one that we did, number 8. So I have 3 over 4x. This is number 8 again, plus 1 over 2x is equal to 1 over 4 plus 5 over 3x. Okay. So I can't have a variable in the denominator. So I have to multiply okay. Yeah, I mean, you theoretically could do that, but the least common multiple of 4x, 2x, 4, and 3x is 12x. Because 4 goes into 12, 2 goes into 12, 4 goes into 12, 3 goes into 12, and x goes into x goes into x. This, I need to add an x to make it the same, right? And then the x. So when I do that, I'm multiplying every spot by 12x. Or 12x over 1 if you really want to, if you have to go ahead. If you're coming in from geometry, we're still just doing a little bit of algebra 1. The reason I'm doing this, Dayton, is because I have to clear out the x from the denominator. I have to multiply every spot by the least common multiple. Now watch. 4x and 12x, I can cross reduce because I'm multiplying. The x's cancel out. The 4 and the 12 reduce to 1 over 3. 3 times 3 is 9. The x's cancel out. The 2 and the 12 reduce to 1 over 6. 6 times 1 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. 6 over 1 is just plus 6. The 4 and the 12 here cancel out to 1 and 3. But you still have the x. Okay, I maybe could have done that. I'm sorry. But it's anytime you can put something over 1. Okay, so yeah, maybe I should have done that to begin with. So, but watch, this is where you can get confused. The 4 and the 12x, okay, is, let me do this over 1 as well, just so you see it. Now I have 3 and x times 1 is equal to 3x. And now I have 12x over 3x cross multiply. The x's cancel out. This becomes 1, this becomes 4. I'm kind of running out of room here. 4 times 5 is 20. 1 times 1 is 1. 20 over 1 is equal to 20. Okay? And now you know how to do this right here. Okay? So again, when you clear out the denominator, you have to find out the least common multiple of all 4 of these spots. If there's a whole number, just put it over 1 to make it a fraction, because you'll have to do that. All right? You could combine like terms on both sides as well if you wanted to. But yeah. And then just cross multiply with the ratio proportions. Either way works. But they want you on this lesson to clear out the denominator. That's why they've done it this way, to make you force you to do it this way. But anyways, I'm going to stop the recording for Algebra 1. Those who are just jumping on, we're finishing Algebra 1, went over a little late.